Hey guys! Today's video is just going to be like a compilation of little upgrades and repairs that we want to get done to my Jeep. One of the first things we're going to do is get rid of this Fairlead and put a new one on there that will also enable us to get rid of this hook that is on here, because we think this hook is kind of dangerous and can become a projectile.
So what we went with is the Yankum groove Fairlead, and it has an area on the ends where you can hook the loop around them, and you're going to be able to get rid of this hook. We will have to modify the end of the winch rope, which is pretty easy. They have a really good video on how to do that, and Cindy's going to do that later. But yeah, so that's going to make things a lot safer and a lot better when it comes to recovery.
It's a windy day today, so hopefully the wind won't be fighting us with the audio. But yeah, we're going to get started.
All right, so I'm hoping this will be fairly easy. I'm hoping not to have to take the whole bumper off again to do it. I'm thinking I can just loosen the 8 bolts enough to where I can pull the bumper forward. There's a couple bolts on each side that hold this this bull bar on that I'll have to loosen as well to allow that to come forward. But I'm thinking that'll give me enough room to be able to get the wrench back up in here to loosen up this hardware and take this Fairlead off and then put the new one on. So this is just the bolt that holds this bar in place. I'm going to loosen that up, which will allow me to pull the bumper forward, hopefully. And it's just the same on this side here. Next, I'm just going to loosen up these 8 bolts that hold the bumper on. And I'm going to loosen them enough to where I don't have to take the bumper all the way off. And hopefully I can get enough gap in there to get a wrench in there to take this Fairlead off. That should be enough room. So I've got the bumper loosened up, and now I can pull it forward, and I should be able to get in there with a wrench to loosen those up and put the new one on.
So while Kevin is loosening up that Fairlead, I am going to be working on these curtains here. So these curtains are held on by Velcro, and I don't know if you can see that very well, but right now I have a mess going on because over time the Velcro has loosened up and I've just kind of doubled it up on itself. I have these little tabs here that have lost their stick, and those actually stick up here to keep that gap closed that's right there. And both sides are like that. Most of the time, I just use the window covers for privacy, but there are times when I need these front curtains. Example would be like when I'm at a rest area and I don't want to put the front window covers on because I want to be able to quickly, if I needed to, jump into the front seat and drive away. So this enables me when I'm laying in bed here to kind of peek out and see what's going on around me a lot easier than if I had to crawl in the front and try to look around that window cover. So an easy but necessary repair.
Okay, so I have the old Fairlead off and ready to put the new one on. But first I need to go ahead and cut this rope out so we can get the hook off of there and feed it through the new Fairlead. These ropes are actually pretty tough and not that easy to cut, but we'll see if we can do it with a utility knife. So that's that off of there. We can pull this off. So now we can feed the line through the new groove Fairlead. I'm going to make sure that the label's facing up. And then I've got a couple of vice grip needle nose pliers just to help me kind of hold the bolt on the back side so I can get these lined up. I've got these started, and then it's a 3/8 inch drive Allen head is what size the bolts are. And then to tighten these up, the nut on the back side is a 3/4 inch.
Okay, so I just did the other side, and I want to show you how I've done this. It's very simple. I almost feel silly showing you, but you might be curious. What I did was I sewed this strap that goes around the curtain, and then I have the Velcro on this side. That's the hook portion. So on here, I have the two soft sides of the Velcro on one side, and then on the back side, I have another hook portion. So this soft one goes to this hook portion that's on here, and then I'm able to just wrap it around the curtain. Okay, so the soft side goes on the Velcro. I bring this around, and so now on this side of the strap, I have the hook, and the soft side connects to that. These connect right here, like that. And then it closes that light gap pretty good. I don't think I've ever shown you guys. I'm not sure if I did in the tour or not, but the curtains are hung on this metal rod that we just cut long enough to go up top here. And there's like a natural kind of groove here that it sits in. And then to keep it from sliding around, we cut off the end of a little clear hose these little pieces that are on each end, which give it some grip. And yeah, it'll move a little bit, and it's flexible enough. If I want to pull it out of there, I can. But for the most part, it stays in place. It's been working out really well. So that's just something that's been annoying me and I've been wanting to do for a while. It's a cheap little thing to do, works well, but will need replacing probably again in a year or two. How's this going?
It's going good. I'm ready to put the bumper back tight. The first thing I'm going to do is put the side bolts back in that I took out, get those lined up, and then I'll tighten the front of the bumper up. And then we'll be ready to do the loop.
Okay. So as Kevin showed you, he already removed the hook that was on the end of this. And now what we're going to be doing is looping this around, kind of forming a loop like this. It's called a Locking Brummell Loop. Let me show you on his Jeep. So on his Jeep, he has the same Fairlead as you can see. And this is the loop we're going to be creating in the rope. And it just goes around this like this, which also helps protect the rope, and it's not just hanging down here. So to make this loop should be fairly easy. There is a very good explanatory video on how to do this on Yankum Rope's website and YouTube channel, and I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can go to it. The tools you're going to need is one of these, which is called a FID. I have seen where people will do it with just any straight instrument that's smooth enough to work through the center of this rope. You'll see what I mean in a moment. but this should make the job a lot easier. Also, something to cut the rope with, and some tape. And then you may want to measure your distances with a tape measure. So they're saying 12 3/4 inches. I went a little bit further because I'm going to trim up those ends. And then you mark at that. And now what I'm going to do is go over to the Fairlead. And then I'm going to wrap it around, keeping my hand where this mark is, or at least where the mark can be seen, and make my loop, get a nice little fit, and then make another mark next to the previous mark. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can. So my two marks are parallel, and that'll be my loop. So what I'm doing now is just loosening the threads up on this, right where that second mark is, because I'm going to be taking this fid and putting it directly through the center of the row, making sure that I have the same number of threads on each side. Okay. And then I'm going to take this end and stick it through the middle of this fid. I'm just going to tape this so that it goes into here easier because it is frayed right now on the end. I probably should have trimmed that up first. So you just need to have it in there enough that it's going to stay in there to pull it through the rope. And really, I don't even know if you need this fid because I just kind of did it with my hands because it wouldn't stay in the fid very well. So, not really necessary. Okay, so then you have your loop through like this. Bring it to your next mark, making sure they're all together. There's my mark. There's the loop I wanted. All right. So now I'm going to pull this so I can see my first mark right here. And I want to loosen that up just like I did the other so I can get the middle of the threads. Same number on each side. And now I got to put this on the end of here, which I'm just going to tape it on there. I really don't need that fid. I find that fid more difficult. So I'm just going to take this loop and fit it through there. Right in the middle. A little bit of finger power until I have two loops like that. Now that I have my two loops, this one that's connected to the long rope here, I'm going to pull it through itself and down this rope. So it's going to take a little strength. Okay. So now that I pulled that all the way through, I want to take the end of this again and insert it in here and pull that back through itself. Okay, like that. And just kind of, you have to kind of massage this, get it kind of loosened up to where everything lays nice and flat. Pull my loop so that they come together like that. So now what's left to do is bury this end into this rope. So what we're going to do, I'm going to remove my tape here, and taper this end of the rope so it fits in there nice. So now I'm going to separate these threads on the end of this rope so that I can cut each one at different lengths to taper it. I'm just going to have to work on these one at a time because these scissors are not working very well. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to get them at different lengths, starting shorter to longer in the middle here. Okay, so I did the best I could to taper this. So I'll show you why I did that here in a minute. I'm going to take this fid, come up here as close to the knot as I can, and again stick this through it by loosening it up. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to stay in the middle and go through the center of this and then push all this rope staying in the center onto the fid. So I have the fid running through the center, and now I'm going to stick this rope through the end of this fid and tape it on there. All right, so I have it taped on there, and I'm just going to go past. I made a mark so that I know for sure I'm past that length, and give myself enough rope here. Oops. So I'm well past my mark here. So hopefully that tape will not come off as I'm doing this. And you see how it's pulling it through. I'm pulling the fid through. You can see my tape now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull it all the way through. Take my tape off and remove this from the fid. And so now when I stretch this back out, that rope should all end up inside it. And because I tapered it, it should be nice and smooth, tapered, so you don't see a big chunk there. Probably could have done a little better job at tapering it, but it looks pretty good. And then I have my loop. Let's go make sure it still fits. There we go. And I'm sure that that's going to stretch a little more. So yeah, that should work good. The loop is a little tight, but I think that'll be fine. Comes on and off, and that'll ensure it just stays on there. But let's tighten this up and see how it stays. Perfect. I like this much better. I feel safer with it. I worry about like that big hook coming back if something were to happen where it came undone and hitting the windshield or somebody else. And at least this isn't going to be quite as damaging or deadly. So next I am going to put my D-ring shackle set on. These are from Rhino USA, and I chose the white to match my Jeep. Ooh, I even got more stickers. They have nice stickers, I'll tell you. Got a bunch of those. So these here. Now I got to decide, do I want to put on with this on the outside or on the inside? So I decided I am going to have them on the inside. I just think it looks a little nicer. And I'm gonna come back and tighten these up. Let me get this one on. So I still need to get my soft shackles, which is what I would put on these. They are basically recovery attachment points. And I still got to get the rest of my recovery gear. But one step at a time. I think they look good. I'm going to go ahead and tighten those up.
So the next thing we're going to do today is install a 60 amp breaker on the line that goes to Cindy's Blue Eddy Charger 1 DC to DC charger. And it does have a 60 amp breaker that's near the end where the charger's actually at, but they really should have put one closer to the battery just to help protect that wire a little better. So that's what we're going to do. We actually had a viewer that made a comment basically saying the same thing, that we should have a fuse closer to the battery. So we decided to install the breaker right here in line on this 6-gauge wire. So the first thing I need to do is disconnect it from the battery. And it's not going to be much of a lead here, so I think I could probably cut it like right in here. And then the other side will loop into that. Alright, so this breaker came with a little, I don't know if you can see that, it came with a little collar that you can put over the wire. And then that slides into the breaker. And then there's a little set screw they give you that goes in there and clamps that in there. They also give you a little rubber grommet that goes over the wire to help kind of make this waterproof. So when you tighten this up, it seals it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this side connected up, and then I'm going to strip the other side and get that side connected up. And we'll come back when I'm done. And I'll just show you real quick. I got the one side connected. This is going to go to the battery, and now I'm going to work on getting the other side connected. I think that's going to work pretty well right there. I didn't turn the breaker on yet, but I'm going to go get Cindy's keys, then I'll flip that breaker on, and then check the Blue Eddy and make sure everything's still working correctly. So I turned on Cindy's Jeep to make sure the Blue Eddy Charger 1 was going to connect and everything's working fine. Looks like it's putting in 356 watts into her Blue Eddy right now at 34 volts. And her starter battery is at 13.7. So it looks like everything's working as it should. And now that wire coming from the battery over to her Charger 1 has some protection on it.
Well, I think that's it for this video. It feels good to get some of these projects done that I have been putting off and needing to get done on my Jeep. Next week we have a few more projects, and that'll be in the next video. Right now we are getting ready to go to the Southeast Adventure Vehicle Expo. It's a mouthful. Yeah. It's an annual event, and this will be our first time going there. If any of you happen to be there and you see us, give us a hi. Don't be shy. I'd love to meet some of you. We'll be camping in the general camping area and probably leaving early on Sunday, so you won't see us on Sunday most likely. But it should be fun. That's going to be February 28th through March 2nd. Yeah. So until next time, bye guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this one, subscribe to my channel. Thanks guys.